Dear racing fans, we've been waiting for you. We've been working, prepping, training, putting together thrilling races, high stakes, favorite traditions, and fresh experiences. From right on the rail to the top of the hill. Whether it's your first meet or your 50th, we can't wait to welcome you back this fall. Love, Keeneland.
And welcome in, everyone, to the Keeneland Look Ahead podcast, season debut for the 2025 fall meet. I'm Jeremy Plonk from Horse Player Now. For some of you who caught the very beginning of this podcast, we had some technical issues on the audio, so we're going to restart it here back from the beginning. You won't miss any of the podcast here. So we're going to start fresh here with a look at the Friday, October 3rd card. 10 races for you on Friday. 3 big stakes races featured are the Phoenix Stakes, the Jessamine, and the Alcibiades for the 2-year-old fillies. This is my 35th consecutive meet with Keeneland, starting my 18th year working with them, handicapping each and every race over the past 34 meets. Stats and trends available for you. All the stats and trends that I dig up out of the free Keeneland Handicappers database, that is available for you at Keeneland.com. You can download it into an Excel spreadsheet, play around with it, and sort it online as well. A lot of great handicapping information you can gather from that handicapping database, and it's a lot of what I use to handicap and have been using since back starting in 2008, 2009. So I look forward to this meet as I do each and every fall meet at Keeneland. It's a great time of year for horse racing leading up to the Breeders' Cup. We've got the Horse of the Year running this Sunday, Torpedo Anna, in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. She'll be looking at potential repeating in the Breeders' Cup Distaff this fall. First, she's got to get through the Spinster this Sunday, and we'll see how she does. But it's those kind of horses on Fall Stars weekend that make it so exciting here at Keeneland to get the ball rolling. Can't wait for this card. Just after 1 o'clock, we'll get things going. Temperatures expected to be in the low 80s. Unseasonably warm in Lexington. That's going to make for fast and firm turf course conditions, and firmer than we're used to seeing at Keeneland, definitely in the spring and certainly in the fall even. And maybe that'll make it a little bit different for some of the horses who come from various circuits around the country. Ellis Park horses, I think, are probably going to run a little bit better on the turf than they have in the past. They don't really match up class-wise a lot of times with the Saratoga or the big dollar horses who come from Kentucky Downs when we run on the grass here at Keeneland. But that firm turf course is going to be something I think that's going to play fairly well for the Ellis horses. I'm not going to jump in on them with both hands to get started, but I'm certainly going to give them a little bit extra look than I might. And if 1 or 2 of them start running pretty decent here opening weekend, it's something to grab a hold of, especially as we get further into the meet. So we'll keep an eye on that. Main track should be speed favoring. It typically is at Keeneland, but I do think it's going to be loose and cuppy because of the dryness. There's not a lot of Mother Nature weather involved or moisture involved in the main track right now. So anything going into the main track is going to be from the track maintenance department. So keep an eye on when they water the track. The more a track gets watered, the tighter it gets. It's just like being on the beach in the sand where it's loose, farther away from the water. It's really tiring to kind of get through and walk through. As you get further down, closer to the water, the more moisture that's in the sand, you can ride a bicycle over it. And of course, you don't want too much moisture, then it becomes kind of like a mosh pit down there. So the right amount of water is how you tighten up a racetrack, and we'll see what the track maintenance crew does. Keep an eye on the times and see how they measure up with what should be expected with horses, what they've run before at these particular tracks and distances, of classes and distances of races. That can be helpful for you. That's something you can gather out of that database by doing some searches and filters. Also give you a little hint on a couple races here on the card, what we expect time-wise, and you can kind of see if the track's fast or slow. But again, keep an eye on the water trucks. I think the more they tighten the track up, the more speed would be positive, and something you want to look at. But at Keeneland, you really want early speed on the main track, 8 out of 10 times anyway, and that's kind of the way that your handicapping should go. But if a race sets up for a closer, by all means, race shape means a lot. Pace makes the race in horse racing. So look for your come from behinders in races that have a ton of early speed to them. A couple new things for you this meet at Keeneland. If you're going on track, there's a 10% takeout on show bets on track. So a reduced takeout for the newbies who want to play some show bets going to the racetrack. Maybe you're going for the first time. Maybe you're a big better and want to go on track and make some show bets. Just a 10% takeout, down from 16% on the normal win, place, and show. So if you're playing on track, there is a bonus for betting show. It's similar to what we have seen at Oaklawn Park in recent years, something they've done for new horse players. So a new thing to look at here at Keeneland, the 10% takeout on show bets when you're on track and playing at Keeneland. So Gabby Gaudette, handicapper at Keeneland over the years, and someone who we reference here in the podcast in our handicapper selectors box. She has moved into an executive role in the communications team at Keeneland. We'll see Scott Hazelton hosting the simulcast action, and we'll also get picks from Scott and also our other handicappers, Kim Nelson and Tom Leach. Myself from the Keeneland.com handicapper selectors box will compare and contrast our picks throughout the course of this card. 10 races for you coming up on Friday. And again, with the 3 big stakes races, what I like to do on this podcast, if you're new to the podcast, we like to give a snapshot of the card, the overview of all the racing action, because you need to strategize your day. It's not just about who you pick, it's how you bet them. And when you strategize your day and look at this snapshot and work ahead, it can really help you know when to budget your money accordingly and when to attack when you have a good play. So let's take a look at the snapshot for the first of 17 cards at Keeneland coming up on Friday. Again, first post just after 1 o'clock, and we'll get started with the early pick 5, races 1 through 5. The early pick 4 is going to start in race number 2 on the program. My key plays on the program that I show you on this podcast each night will come up in races 3, 5, and 10. Races 3, 5, and 10, the key plays. I like to look at key plays as horses that can make my day, bets that can make my day. I'm looking to hit 1 out of 3 of the key plays, and that be enough to carry me for a day. So when I budget and I play the races, I'm playing these 3 races much heavier than I am the other races. And if I can connect on one, it'll make up the difference. So we're looking for these key plays on races 3, 5, and 10. On opening day. The pick 6 at Keeneland begins in race number 5. It's a $1 pick 6 minimum. Traditional pick 6, no jackpot provision there, but in the pick 6, again, a $1 minimum. Second key play on the card comes there in race number 5. To the 6th race, we're going to start the late pick 5 on races 6 through 10. It's also the first leg of the Keeneland Turf pick 3. Keeneland Turf Pick 3, a wager introduced a couple years ago. $3 minimum bet, low takeout. This is a good chance to make a score. We usually have big field sizes in the turf races, races 6, 8, and 10. The final 3 turf races on the card each day are the Keeneland Turf Pick 3 races. So you'll know that the final 3 races that are scheduled for turf are races 6, 8, and 10 on this card, and that's why they make up the Keeneland Turf Pick 3 bet. Stakes races will run in races 7, 8, and 9. The late pick 4 starts in the 7th, which is the Phoenix Stakes. 4 sprinters headed towards the Breeders' Cup Sprint, perhaps. 2-year-old fillies in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies division, Juvenile Fillies Turf division, will square off in the Jessamine Stakes in race number 8, second leg of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. The Alcibiades is the opening day feature race. It's race number 9 on the card for the 2-year-old fillies in that one. And we wrap things up in race number 10, final leg of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. The Toyota Super High 5, which challenges you to pick the top 5 finishers in a race, is offered on the last race each day. Super High 5 race in race number 10. And my final key play on the card is race number 10. Why is that important when your final key play is on race number 10? You need to know that in advance. You don't want to be reaching into your pockets and pulling out lint late in the day. I mean, you've got to budget accordingly. And if you have strong plays late in the card, you need to either make those wagers early. You need to be disciplined and have money for late in the day and really have your strategy mapped out so that when you get to that final race on the card, if you've got a nice price to play or a solid opinion that you want to punch, you got to have the budget to do so. So that's what this is about. It's about strategizing. It's not necessarily following what I do, but I'm trying to teach you how to set up your strategy for yourselves as you play through the card. That's what we'll do each and every night, 8:30 Eastern before the next day's racing, and then we'll get into the card for tomorrow here in just a second. Again, the handicapper selectors box at Keeneland.com will have all of the picks, the 1, 2, 3, and each race for the public handicappers that include myself. And also my blog at Keeneland.com in the expert handicapper section gives the stats and trends. I'll read some of those stats and trends during the course of this podcast, but you get much more depth in each and every race. All the stats and trends that I've been doing for the last 34 plus meets at Keeneland, you can get those free. Keeneland.com, again, in the expert handicapper section, and get those stats and trends for each race on the card. Let's get handicapping here over the next 30 minutes or so. So we start things off. This is the Keeneland Handicapper Selectors Box available at Keeneland.com. Scott Hazelton, Tom Leach, the voice of the Wildcats, myself, Kim Nelson, excellent pedigree handicapper. We're the 4 in the box this time because Gabby Gaudette has moved on to the administrative side of things at Keeneland in the communications office. So the 4 of us will be in the Handicapper Selectors Box this meet. And we're going to start things off in race number 1. I've got the 2 in here. Scott also has the 2. Tom has the 2. And Kim's got the 2 picked second in here. That's Miss Ellery. Miss Ellery, ridden by Tyler Gaffleone, is going to be the top choice in here. 7-2 in the morning line, but with 3 of 4 handicappers taking this one on top, you might see this horse actually get favoritism. Tyler Gaffleone's been a perennial leading rider at Keeneland. He was injured in the spring meet and did not ride here in the spring when Flavian Pratt won the leading jockey title. The Ortiz brothers were slugging it out at the top of the standings going all the way through that meet. Luis Saez has had multiple crowns as the leading rider here at Keeneland. So you take the 2 Ortiz brothers, you take Saez, you take Pratt off his win in the spring meet last year, or this past spring in 2025, and the return of Tyler Gaffleone from injury, and you've got a tremendous jockey colony here at Keeneland. One of the things about Tyler Gaffleone I like in these mile and a 16th races at Keeneland, of course, they finish at the 16th pole finish line, so they're a pretty unique trip. They don't go all the way to the traditional wire. Look at the stats. When I run the stats here from the BetMix database on Miss Ellery's jockey, Tyler Gaffleone, he wins 22% at a mile and a 16th on the dirt. And when he gets post 1 or 2 in these races, he wins 28% of the time. That's a tremendous percentage for a jockey at this kind of competitive meet. You give him an inside post in one of these mile and 16th races with the short stretch finishing at the 16th pole. Tyler Gaffleone wins 28%, 42% of the time. He's an exact in these kind of situations. So I've got Miss Ellery in the opening race. The 7 horse is the other one you got to watch in here. Nerazzurri. Nerazzurri is a horse who's making a drop in class. This is a horse who comes in from Gulfstream Park, has been sprinting at Gulfstream, stretches out in distance in this particular spot, but the class ought to carry this horse a pretty long ways. The 16th pole finish line should keep Nerazzurri in the mix all the way to the finish as well. 2-7, I can't see him getting beyond those 2. I think they really both kind of stand out in this spot. 5-2 in the morning line on Nerazzurri with Irad Ortiz riding. By Protonico, who's a stakes winner here at Keeneland. So while Nerazzurri's only had the one start at Keeneland and ran poorly here back in 2024, that was with a different trainer in much better form now. And again, the sire did pretty well here over the track at Keeneland, winning in stakes company Protonico in his racing days. So Nerazzurri probably is all right in here for the distance and probably all right over the racetrack, but it's a curious spot dropping into this starter allowance. And for my money, give me the 2 Miss Ellery to get things started here in race number 1. We go to the second race on the program as we switch things up from the beginning of the pick 5 in the opener to the beginning of the early pick 4 in race number 2. Early pick 4 will be races 2 through 5. And this is a 2-year-old maiden claiming race. And 2-year-old maiden claiming races here at Keeneland in the fall when they're going 6.5 furlongs like this. Horses with experience have about 4 times the number of wins as horses who are first-time starters. We're going to talk about some races over the course of this opening weekend where first-time starters really have a pretty good hold on them. Maiden special sprints. But in maiden claiming sprints for these 2-year-olds, horses making their first career start, if you're willing to give them up for a claiming tag, they typically don't win these races that often. Lean towards horses with experience. Again, they've got about a 4-1 edge in number of victories. So look for some horses with experience in here. Number 9, Fame Chaser is going to be my top choice in here for trainer Wesley Ward. He does well with the 2-year-olds at Keeneland. We know that. He does well dropping these 2-year-old maiden claimers as well. He's got 24% wins with these kind of horses during the fall meet. So I'm going to go with number 9, Fame Chaser as my top choice in here. Fame Chaser is 3-1 on the morning line. You look across the other handicappers in here, though, there is no consistency and nobody congealing on a top pick in this spot. You've got Cab on the Rocks, the 2, the 1, Zucchero, and the 8, Perfect Audible, also top choices in here. So in a field of 12, there are 4 different horses picked on top. Even if you like a favorite in here, it doesn't feel like they're going to get bet off the board. Everybody's kind of shopping around in some different spots. But for me, it's Fame Chaser. The 12, Mountain High, the other one in here, I give a good consideration to. Ben Krolbrook changed this one, showed some speed on the turf, and now cuts back in distance and also switches surface. This surface change can be something that can be pretty effective. And Ben Colebrook's run 14 horses here at Keeneland in the 2-year-old maiden claimers here in fall meets. Out of those 14 starters, he's got 3 wins, 3 seconds, 2/3. Good numbers dropping horses in these maiden claimers for Ben Colebrook. Mountain High, the 12, I think, is definitely one to respect in here. So I've got it 9, 12, 8. And as you see with some of the other handicappers, the 12's not getting a lot of love in here. So I'm the only one using the 12. This could be a spot where we get a nice price on there. So even if you like the 9 in here, Fame Chaser at 3-1, the 12 horse who's 20-1 in the morning line could be the price key in here and could be one who blows it up. And in what looks to be a wide open race with 4 handicappers taking 4 different horses on top, don't be afraid to throw a long shot in there. So Race number 2 as we start the pick 4 and second leg of the early pick 5. When you look at the exotic wagers in here, might be a good shot to get the 12 in there somewhere with the Wesley Ward horse. Certainly exactas, tries, superfectas in a big field like this. You can get a lot of value by getting a horse in at big prices in the underneath spots. So keep an eye on the 12 in here. I've got it 9, 12, and 8 in race number 2. We go next to the third race on the card at Keeneland on Friday. It's our first turf race of the meet. 2-year-olds in here in maiden special weight company. Now, this is what we call a split division. There were so many horses who entered race number 3 that they split the race in 2 divisions, and they're going to run it basically twice on the same card. Race 3 and race 10 is the same condition. So many horses entered that they decided to split these 2-year-old fillies. What's exciting about this is, that's just like whatever stats and trends that you apply to maybe in race 3, you'll also be able to wheel back and use in race number 10, which is good for somebody who's doing handicapping of particular kind of races like this. But what's really interesting about this is 2-year-old turf maiden special weights at Keeneland in the fall are the biggest long shot look that you have during the entire meet. The average winner of these races is 9.9 to 1, paying over $21, almost $22 on the Win Mutual in 2-year-old turf route maiden special weights. And this is from more than 66 races. So it's not a small sample size. 66 of these kind of races have been run in fall meets, and the average winner pays about $22. So this is good fishing. You hope you get one to bite in these kind of races because you can get a nice price. That's what we're going to hope for. Now, horses with experience have done much better in these races than first-time starters, as you might expect with 2-year-old turfers going long. A little bit of experience, a little bit of foundation helps, but don't overbet on the first-time starters. Of those 66 races that we've seen, 53 of them, 53 out of 66 have been won by horses with experience, only 13 first-time starters. So you're looking clearly 4-1 advantage for horses who have experience. So look towards that. Kentucky Downs has produced 18 of the winners. 13 of the winners came from New York and 12 from Churchill Downs. So a pretty good even mix with Kentucky Downs horses having a slight edge amongst those. But I wouldn't get all in on the Kentucky Downs angle per se, but certainly give them a little bit extra look in these races. But it's not a dominant margin. But experienced horses are certainly what you're looking for. And you're looking for some horses that ran in a route race last time. I think of the 53 experienced winners that we've seen, 36 of them came out of route races at a mile or longer last time. 17 of them stretched out in distance. So give me a horse who went a mile or more last time out on one of these bigger circuits, and I think you can find a good one. I've got number 8 in here, Mencare. Mencare is a horse I'm really excited to take a shot at here. Mencare is a horse who ran at Kentucky Downs last time. Scott Hazelton's also got this one picked on top. I thought I might be on the island here, but Scott's got him picked. And also third for Tom, 12-1 in the morning line. Trainer Will Walden brings this one in off a second-place finish last time out at Kentucky Downs. But what I really like about this horse is Will Walden hasn't run many 2-year-olds here during the fall meet at Keeneland. In fact, he's only run 4. But of the 4 2-year-olds that he's running maiden special weights in the fall, young Will Walden, he's got 2 wins and a second from those 4 starters. And get this, one of the winners was 38-1, and one of the runner-ups was 32-1. Big bombs, Will Walden, 2-year-olds coming to Keeneland in the fall. There's not many. It's a small sample size, but you got to attack small sample sizes at Keeneland. You don't get a lot of large sample sizes to work with. Mencare, the 8, is going to be my play in here. John Velasquez, 12-1 in the morning line. And this is one that I really want to get home here in race number 3. One of my key plays of the day as we go back to the snapshot of the card. Mencare in here, the 8 is going to be my top play. There are a lot of really good options underneath. I think evenly matched type horses. Empress Cece, the 9 is going to be one that I'm going to work into my mix as well. The 13 off the also eligible list. Backgammon is one I think you got to keep an eye on. Others in here, the 1 Turner's Charm. The 6 is a horse Sneakily. The 5's one I've got in the mixed trust account, and the 2 Ginger Ale. And you say, my God, you've named half the field. But when you key a horse on top and you use 4, 5, 6 of them underneath, going after the tries or the supers, that's the way you make a big score. And for me, I want the win money, obviously, on Mencare, 12-1 in the morning line, but I'm not afraid to put this horse on top and key in a try or super as well. So 5, 6 horses underneath in a try, you're only looking at $20 or $30 for a dollar. 50-cent try, you're looking at $10 or $15. So if you take Mencare on top of 6 horses, in a 50-cent trifecta, it's only going to cost you $15 to do so. And you might make a major score having a double-digit horse win the race and with a lot of options underneath them to run second or third. So this is a really good race to attack. As far as the early races on the card, this is the one I want to bet the most money that I have for the first half of the card without question. And that's one of my key plays. And why else do I want to bet a lot on this race? Because these races often produce nice prices. And that's why we go back and we try to research what types of races at Keeneland does the public most often whiff on. They most often whiff on these 2-year-old turfers going long. So let's take Minkari in race number 3 and see if we can't make some bingo early in the meet. Next up, we're going to go to the 4th race on the card, 4th race on the Friday program. Doesn't start any new wagers, but it will be important for the early pick 5. It'll be part of the early pick 4 as well. So you got to get through this leg if you're going to play any of those multi-race wagers as well. This is one where I've got the one in here, King's Lover, and I thought that, or King Solver, I thought more people would be on King Solver in here, but when we see the handicapper selectors box, I'm the only one that's got the one on top here. I think people may be trying to beat the Schuylerville winner from Saratoga. Comes off a second in the Ellis Park debutante. This horse is by Omaha Beach, King Solver. Omaha Beach as a sire has had 26% winners over the last 4 years at Keeneland, won 3 races during the spring meet with his offspring. King Solver should absolutely love it here at Keeneland. Already a stakes winner, dropping back into a Lowndes company here because when she won the stakes race, she was a maiden. So she's eligible for non-winners of 2, even though she's a stakes winner. I don't know why others aren't picking her. Maybe because the speed figures aren't that, super dominant by any stretch. She's only been in the 60s, but I think her form looks really good. She's bred to run well here, obviously, at Keeneland by Omaha Beach. Flavian Pratt rides for Rudy Brisset. I'm all in on this one. I think this horse is a solid play in here, but I thought a rather shortish kind of price. 1-7, Donna Romano, the other in here that I've got picked second. Donna Romano for Brad Cox. He's won 6 of these non-winners of 2 allowance races over the fall meets in the past, and that's more than any other trainer. Ian Wilkes next best with just 3. So Cox with 6 of these type wins. Donna Romano comes off a restricted win at Saratoga for the sales price restriction. He's 9-4. She's 9-5. In Nick Tamaro's morning line. So if you can get by Brad Cox in here and King Solver, I think you've kind of done something. The 4 in here, Spa Prospector is 6-1 and going to be my third choice. Looking across the way here in race number 4, though, Donna Romano, top pick for Kim and Scott. They'll go with the Brad Cox trainee. Tom's going into 9 here, Fond of You, third last time out in the sorority stakes at Monmouth Park, taking the blinkers off for trainer Mike Stidham. So good long shot handicapper Tom Leach. You'll watch that throughout the course of the meet. He's got some good long shot plays, and he gives his long shot play of the day on the Today at Keeneland show. Today at Keeneland is a program that runs on the simulcast feed. You can follow that as you log in and watch Keeneland either at Keeneland.com with the live simulcast feed or on your favorite ADW, or if you're at the track on the TV monitors. The Today at Keeneland show comes on at 11:30 a.m. Eastern each race day. It'll give you your first look at the conditions at the racetrack, the latest news. Tom Leach gives his long shot plays of the day. They'll do a clocker report. A lot of great handicapping angles for that show. 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Be sure to check that out each day today at Keeneland. Now let's move on to race number 5 on this opening day card. 5th race on the program. We'll start the pick 6, and it's my second key play of the day. We don't have to go very far to find it. Right down on the rail, Morlock. Going to be my top choice in here. Morlock for me on top. No one else has Morlock picked on top at 6-1 in the morning line. This horse ran at Keeneland once last fall in Maiden Special Weight Company. Ran a good second behind a horse named Bracket Buster. How good was that race? Bracket Buster, of course, second in the Travers Stakes, the Sovereignty back in August at Saratoga. And just last Sunday won the Oklahoma Derby Grade 3 $400,000 race for trainer Vicky Oliver. This horse has taken on some good competition. Morlock, second start off a layoff for trainer Eddie Keneally. Keneally's horses run really well here at Keeneland over the 7 furlong trips, it seems, over the years. And there is no better 7 furlong jockey at Keeneland than Luis Saez. The numbers are just fantastic. He wins 21% in 7 furlong sprints with a 134 ROI for every dollar bet. You make a 34% profit betting Luis Saez in 7 furlong races at Keeneland. That's an exceptional number. Morlock turning back in distance a little bit, and we've seen that move be pretty good here over the years. Maiden special weights like this, horses cutting back a little bit in trip. This is a situation where cutbacks have had success, and so a horse like Morlock coming out of a mile race is one to really keep an eye on here. I've got the 1 over the 6, 11, 10, and 3. So again, we've got a 6-1 on top. We can play here, obviously straight money, but when we're looking at the exotics, we've got a couple other options to put underneath them. Again, 6, 11, 10, 3, the horses I've got underneath the 1. A Morlock is my top choice in here. The 3, Knew What's Name, is top choice for Scott. The 6 in here, Divine Justice, top pick for both Kim and for Tom. So again, the horses that they've got underneath are the ones I think are the keys. The horses they have on top are the ones I think are the keys underneath Morlock. So if we can get our horse here on top, I think we've got some reliable horses to look at underneath and a good chance to attack the exotics in here. Again, nice price, 6-1 in the morning line. You get Luis Saez at a distance. He does exceptionally well in the saddle. Let's move on now to race number 6. We'll just keep it going here to the pick 5, beginning the late pick 5 here in the 6th race. It's the first leg of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. Again, Keeneland Turf Pick 3 is a $3 minimum wager. It's a high minimum, but it's one of those wagers where if you can connect, you're going to score $300, $400, $500 on your wager. Try to narrow the races down a little bit where maybe you've got 2 horses in one leg, 2 in another, and single. I mean, if you go 2, single, 2, or single, 2, 2, you're only looking at 4 total combinations and $3 per ticket. It's a $12 bet. So if you can turn a $12 bet into $300, $400, $500 that they consistently pay in these Keeneland Turf Pick 3s, that's a good wager. So I'm not saying at a $3 minimum that it's for everybody, but it's also not pricing people out. You don't want to be going in a pick 3 where you got 5, 6, 7, 8 deep in a bunch of different legs. A pick 3 should be a rather focused bet. Pick 4s, pick 5s, you spread a little bit more. But in pick 3s, the number of combinations over 3 races, you want to keep them fairly limited to start with. So if you don't have a single in a 3-race series, then you really don't have a pick 3 ticket in my estimation. So you can knock that down and just use one combination in one of the 3 races, couple in the others, and you can make this a fairly affordable ticket. Like I say, 2 by 1 by 2, it's a $12 ticket using 4 combinations, and you can give yourself a real chance to make some money. Put $12 in a bunch of 50-cent exactas, and you're not going to get $300, $400, $500 back. In this particular case, though, you can make a $300, $400, $500, make your entire opening week, make your day, however much you play. But even if you're a casual bettor, you might make half your meat by hitting one of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3s. And again, you don't have to put out a huge investment. You just limit your number of combinations and be a little more focused on your tickets. We start that Keeneland Turf Pick 3 in race number 6. This is a first level allowance race, a turf mile. If those of you who watch this podcast a lot, especially in the spring meet, you know in turf milers, I'm saying horses coming off long layoffs usually come back in the spring and run tremendously here at Keeneland off long breaks. That's more situational because they're winter horses. Turfway doesn't have a turf course. Not everybody in the southern part of the country, the Oaklawn, there's no turf course. There's limited turf racing that they have down at fairgrounds. So you get a lot of layoff horses who are very successful here in the spring meet, not in the fall. So in these turf mile races, kind of rethink and recalibrate what you knew in the spring meet. They're 2 separate meets, the spring and the fall. And here in the fall, you want horses that have some experience recently. Horses that ran in August or September, really close prep races, have done much better in these brilliant turf mile type races. So keep that in mind. We've got some horses in this race that are trying to come off long layoffs, and that's why I mention it. The 2 here, the Queen's been off since April. Romney Road, the 3's been off since March. Whippoorwill, the 7's been off since March. The 11 Exclusive Star hasn't run since April. You might like those kind of horses in the spring, and they fit better in those races, but they haven't been very successful here in the fall. So really keep that in mind. You want horses that run in September, October for the most part when you're handicapping these fall races. Okay, let's go to the handicapper selectors box here for race number 6. And I've got number 9, Golden Gamble, on top in this spot. Golden Gamble's one who was a little bit too fresh last time, I think, off the layoff at Kentucky Downs. Had been off January to September, now has the more recent race. A lot of times when a horse comes off a layoff, they're going to be a little bit fresh. And what I mean is they're into the race a little bit too soon. They run a little bit closer to the pace than they're used to running when they come off a layoff. They're kind of geeked up. They're not into their pattern and their form cycle, and they just kind of get overly excited out of the gate. I think this horse moved too soon last time at Kentucky Downs. Still ran a decent third, Golden Gamble, and now comes back with a different jockey. Brian Hernandez, the typical rider, was injured in a spill during the final week at Churchill Downs. Certainly recovery wishes and best wishes to Brian Hernandez and family. He broke 7 ribs, I believe, a lacerated kidney, I believe, a punctured lung, really serious injuries for Brian Hernandez. He hopes to get back for the Breeders' Cup. We'll see. He's the regular rider, of course, of Mystic Dan, the Kentucky Derby winner, of Torpedo Anna, the reigning horse of the year. He'd love to get back, but Brian Hernandez, the typical rider of Golden Gamble, who we're talking about in this race, when you see a jockey change in here, that's the reason why, and why I'm going into the details of the story. So Brian Hernandez did nothing wrong last time aboard Golden Gamble. I think the horse was just too geeked up, but you get a change of rider now to Jose Ortiz. He's a fairly patient jockey, and I think he's really going to fit Golden Gamble well in here. 6-1 in the morning line. That's going to be my top choice here in race number 6. And again, as we look across the handicapper selectors box in here, a Golden Gamble, the 9, picked second by Tom, but nobody else has this one on top. We could very well hold this kind of 6-1 price. The 14 Cliffs is probably the favorite if this horse draws into the race, so keep an eye on the scratches and changes. Typically around 10 a.m., you'll get the scratches and changes for a Keeneland card posted at Keeneland.com. Equibase will have the scratches and changes for you. If you follow at Keeneland Racing on Twitter, they'll link out the scratches and changes as well. If the 14 Cliffs gets into the race, absolutely a contender in this particular spot. In the stars, the 6 is my third choice in here, and Rusty Arnold trains this one coming off a big win last time. Almost a where did it come from victory. This horse has run twice on the turf, second on the turf back in May at Churchill Downs, and then has really done nothing of note on the dirt. Got back on the turf last time at Kentucky Downs and just romped. In the stars, top choice in here for Scott, top choice for Kim. Now, the reason I didn't pick in the stars on top is because that one, where did it come from win, came at Kentucky Downs. And Kentucky Downs is one of those odd racetracks, right? The configuration of the racetrack, the undulations, everything that goes on with that turf course is different than what we see at other, regular ovals and flat racing here in the U.S. Some horses love it. Some horses hate it. This one drew off and won by 7. We're talking about in the stars here in race number 6. In the stars repeats that last performance just on pure ability, can win this race back. But can he run that same kind of race? Can she run that same kind of race back in a conventional turf course like this, a 2-turn configuration, on the flat, tighter turns? I'll make her prove it to me at a shorter price. And she was 9-5 when she won last out at Kentucky Downs. Kind of tells me it wasn't the strongest field in the world because she'd come off a 5th place finish at Churchill Downs prior to that. I know it was on the dirt, but to get bet 9-5, I mean, the word must have got out on her. But at the same time, 7-length win there at Kentucky Downs doesn't always just rubber stamp and get repeated other places. She could win. I've got her as the third choice. If the 14 doesn't get in the field, I think she's the second most likely winner in the race. But I wouldn't take too short of a price on her. I like the 9 in here, Golden Gamble. Give me that one for trainer Kenny McPeak, race number 6. Let's go to the 7th race on this card, and we start our stakes trifecta, if you will. Races 7, 8, and 9. I regular pick 3, all stakes in this particular case. The Phoenix Stakes, race number 7, grade 2 event. This race has been run 11 times since coming back on dirt back in 2015. Fall of 2014, I should say, when we returned to the dirt. Favorites have won 6 of 11 editions of the Phoenix. 8 of 11 of those editions have been won by horses 3-1 or less. We're not expecting any big prices in a race like this. I'm going with the morning line favorite in here, and the name is World Record. World Record is cross-entered to run Saturday as well in the turf sprint stakes called the Woodford Stakes. Reportedly, World Record will stay in this race and run in the Phoenix. So we expect World Record to run on Friday and then scratch out of the race on Saturday. If you have past performances for both days or you were looking ahead, we expect World Record to be in the field. Again, check the final scratches and changes around 10 a.m. on race day Friday, but I expect World Record to be in this particular race. Rudy Brisset, the trainer, when he's on, he is on. And when he's got horses aimed in the right spot at Keeneland, he doesn't miss many putts. He's run 27 horses going 6 furlongs at Keeneland over the years. 11 of them. 11 have won. That's 41%. A 41% trainer angle is something as generic as 6 furlong sprints tells you. When he's got a sharp horse, they are sharp. Speed wins here at Keeneland. World Record's got plenty of that. This is a horse who won here at Keeneland back in the 24 meet, going the 6 furlong trip, has a win over the racetrack, and I expect World Record to be the tough out in this particular spot. There's not a overwhelming amount of early speed out of the starting gate. I think World Record could get on top, but not against Skelly. So I think this horse is going to come out of there second or third. Skelly's got a chance in here to wire the field exceptionally fast. One of the fastest horses you're going to see in all of racing for the first half mile. 6 furlongs is well within his wheelhouse. Skelly in here for trainer Steve Asmussen is an absolute freak at Oaklawn. He's a little bit more, Clark Kent than Superman when he gets away from Oaklawn. But at Oaklawn, he's an absolute world beater. He's by Practical Joke, and we've never seen Skelly run here at Keeneland in the past. But Practical Joke has a positive ROI with his starters over the last 4 years here at Keeneland and 23% winners. Exceptional win rate for a sire here. 23% winners for Practical Jokes on the main track here at Keeneland. And again, a positive ROI, so you're in the plus if you've been betting all of the Practical Jokes. Won't be surprised if Skelly makes him really, really scared about the 8th pole that he's not going to come back to him. But I think World Record gets past him. I think he's the better horse of the two, matching up here on what is, a rather favorable surface that we know for sure with World Record. He's run well here in the past, whereas Skelly, we're kind of looking at a pedigree lean, thinking he might like it here. That being the case, I think the edge goes to World Record in this spot. He'll be my top pick. Let's see the other handicappers here across the way in the Phoenix Stakes. World Record, top choice for myself, Scott, and Tom. Kim's going with the 3, Skelly. I've got Nakatomi to run second in here, and why not? Because Nakatomi's run second in this race 2 years in a row. 2023, 2024, comes from a little bit farther off the pace than you'd like to see in 6 furlong sprints, and that's why Nakatomi's probably going to be reserved to a 2nd or 3rd place finish in this particular spot. He's going to need all of the speed to come back, and all of the speed rarely comes back at this kind of class level here at Keeneland going 6 furlongs. You got to get Skelly to quit. You've got to get World Record to quit. Then you can be talking about Nakatomi. He needs a lot to go right for him, but I think he's the most likely runner-up in this race as the 2 speed horses, Skelly and World Record. If they tire each other out, one of them gets passed somewhere in the lane. Nakatomi probably to run second. But if you ask me who is the second most likely horse to win this race, I would say Skelly, because he could get loose on the front. So to me, World Record's the most likely winner. Skelly, the second most likely winner in the race. But I do think one of those fades, and Nakatomi probably runs up into second with a good closing effort. That's the way I see race number 7, the Phoenix Stakes. We go to the 8th race on the card. It's the Jessamine Stakes, 2-year-old fillies on the turf. Keeneland Turf Pick 3 keeps rocking and rolling here. Second leg of that wager. Second stakes race in back-to-back offerings. Field of 12 entered with 2 also eligible, so a big field to go in this one. Favorites are 7 for 18 in the Jessamine Stakes, a good percentage there over the last 18 years that we have in our free handicappers database at Keeneland.com. But although 7 of 18 favorites is a strong percentage, there have been 5 winners, 11-1 or more. So it's been a little feast or famine, a little all or nothing in the Jessamine Stakes. You either get a favorite who's really solid, or you can kind of scratch your head and go after some prices in here. Horses coming from off the pace have really had a lot of success in this race. The average winner of the mile and the 16th Jessamine Stakes is 4 3/4 lengths off the lead after the opening half mile. So this is a race that's played to a closer's profile, a come from behind profile when you're that far back after the opening half mile on average. You've got a closer in here. You've got a favorite on the outside who I think makes a lot of sense in number 12, Time to Dream. Time to Dream was an impressive 5-length winner of the P.G. Johnson up at Saratoga coming into this race. The Saratoga horses have done very well in this race over the years. You go back and you look at like where the horses prepped coming into this race. In the last 18 years, 9 of the winners have come from New York, 3 from Churchill Downs, 2 from Kentucky Downs, 2 from Woodbine. So dominant. More winners from Naira than Churchill, Kentucky Downs, and Woodbine combined in this race, the Jessamine Stakes. So I'm looking for the Saratoga horses. I want horses who routed on the turf last time out. Again, another fundamental kind of statistical edge for those kind of horses. Time to Dream checks all those boxes. Should be closing late in the race. So from the far outside post, jockey in here, Irad Ortiz can kind of just take back, let the field go out, start to come over and save some ground into the first turn, and then just come with that rally down the middle of the track. That's what we expect for Time to Dream. And a 5-length winner last time out, debuted a winner, 2 for 2 lifetime. That's going to be my choice here in the Jessamine Stakes. Again, a race that's played very strong to favorites. 7 out of 18 favorites have won this race in our database. And as we look at the other handicappers looking at the Jessamine Stakes, I'll go in here with the 12 Time to Dream. Kim's also in that book. Mackinac, the 2, is a horse I've got it underneath in this particular spot. Mackinac, top choice in here for both Scott and Tom. Mackinac was a winner last time out at Kentucky Downs, going 6.5 furlongs. Going to stretch out in distance. Got a good brisk late pace figure in that race last time out. The horse debuted a second-place finisher at Saratoga in the spring or in the summer. And the horse who beat her at Saratoga, Snow Pace Princess, Snowpace Princess is already a stakes winner and stakes placed since that race for trainer Steve Asmussen. I believe she's running in the Matron up in New York over the weekend as well. So Mackinac coming out of good races. That was a good debut race, running second, a good allowance win last time out at Kentucky Downs. But again, stretching out in distance, and does that Kentucky Downs form transfer? The one thing about Mackinac, unlike some of the others we talked about earlier when it comes to the Kentucky Downs form, that was a really good race at Saratoga prior to that. So that wasn't the Kentucky Downs race for Mackinac, wasn't one that just came out of nowhere. It followed up a good effort at Saratoga as well. So I don't think this horse is just necessarily a horse for course that likes Kentucky Downs. Mackinac is going to be a factor in here, gets a good post position. But again, stretching out off of 2 sprint races, that hasn't been the MO to win this race. The Jessamine over the years, the horses coming out of route races have had more success. Only 4 of the 18 were won by horses stretching out less than 7 furlongs in their previous start. So Mackinac is going to have to try to buck that trend a little bit, but it's happened, roughly about a quarter to 30% of the time. But you prefer a horse to come out of some route races like we see with Time to Dream. I've got this race 12, 5, and 2. The 5 Rose Room in here. Got a nice brisk late pace figure last time at Kentucky Downs, going the mile a little bit longer in the previous race. And Rose Room is a half to millionaire pixelate. So Mike Stidham, Godolphin's got a really well-bred runner there in Rose Room. Rose Room is entered both at Aqueduct and at Keeneland, expected to scratch in New York and run here at Keeneland. Again, check out the final scratches and changes, but we expect Rose Room to be in this race number 8, the Jessamine Stakes. And for me, I'm going 12, 5, 2, the way I've got it lined up. And Kim and I will take the 12, or take the 12, and then Scott and Tom will line up with the 2. And somewhere in the middle, we might meet, or we might end up with the exacta box if we're right. 9th race on the card coming up next is the featured Alcibiades Stakes. The Alcibiades has a field of 6, and this is a prep towards the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Last year, we saw Immersive win this race for trainer Brad Cox and go on to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies and be named the champion 2-year-old filly. That same scenario doesn't look out of the question this year because how dominant Tommy Joe was in New York. She's run 2 times. She's won the 2 races by almost 10 combined lengths, including the grade 1 spin away last time out. She is going to be a very solid favorite in this race. She's 2-5 in Nick Tamaro's morning line. She will be every bit of that short odds-on choice for trainer Todd Pletcher. Pletcher won this race a couple years ago with Candid. He can come right back and do it again. Yes, she's stretching out from 7 furlongs and going around 2 turns, but when you look at this race historically, 8 of the 11 winners since we went back to dirt here in the Alcibiades Stakes, 8 of the 11 winners prepped last time at 7 furlongs or less. It's more likely that you're going to come out of a brilliant 1-turn race and win this race. Remember, 16th pole finish line at a mile and a 16th. Most of these 2-year-olds haven't had a chance to go long yet. Most of your 2-year-old longer races earlier in the year are on the grass. So when you're talking about dirt horses, that's different between the Jessamine, where we just talked about the Jessamine on the turf, where the profile there was for horses who had already gone long. Because you get 2-year-old route turf races earlier in the year than you do 2-year-old dirt route races. So the horses who are running in the Alcibiades historically haven't had that many chances to run long. And where they have run long has been on some lesser circuits. And that's kind of what we see. Go to Girl comes off a mile race at Ellis Park. Gulfstream, Halt Diva comes out of a race at Gulfstream going a mile on the turf. You're not going to see 2-turn races at Saratoga. You're not going to see some big 2-turn races at some of the major venues. You're not going to see them very often at Churchill Downs in the September meet. So these horses are going to be stretching out most of the time in the Alcibiades, the good ones. Tommy Joe just kind of fits right that bill of what we've seen over the years. So I go into that long soliloquy because if you're going to try to beat this 2-5 because she's never run around 2 turns, you're probably going the wrong angle. You've got to find a better angle than that because the good ones who have run in this race over the years also were not horses who had been around 2 turns prior. I think she gets it done here at a short price. Probably talk way too long to give you a 2-5. Number 2, Go to Girl, though, is 20-1 in the morning line, and I think she's got a chance to run second in here, and that'll pay all right if you can pull off the exacta in here. She's a daughter of Nick's Go to Girl we're talking about here for trainer Kenny McPeak. Nick's Go won the Breeders' Futurity as a 2-year-old, 70-1 odds back in his 2-year-old season when he won the big race, the brother race, if you will, to this sister race, the Alcibiades. So the sire won here as a 2-year-old going this same trip. The sire Nick's Go also came back and won an allowance race very impressively later in his career, I believe as a 4-year-old. That springboarded him into the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, which was hosted at Keeneland that year, which he also won. Nick's Go loved it over the racetrack at Keeneland. I won't be surprised if his offspring do, as we start to see some of them running here at Keeneland now. Go to Girl is a horse for trainer Kenny McPeak, coming off a nice race last time out at Ellis Park. Didn't run particularly fast on the speed figures, but we've seen these McPeak 2-year-olds that had some route experience under their belt run pretty well over the years here at Keeneland. He's done well in this particular race. The Alcibiades, of course, Restless Rider won this race. Simply Ravishing won this race 2018, 2020. McPeak's had 2-year-old fillies ready to go this trip. I would think Go to Girls won at 20 to 1 in the morning line that we could be pretty useful to find a little bit of time for that one. Percy's Bar, the one, is coming off a second in the spin-away behind Tommy Joe last time out. And Tom Leach, the voice of the Kentucky Wildcats, he patrols the backstretch and the grandstand at Keeneland and gathers interviews for the YouTube channel, a Keeneland official YouTube channel. He caught up with Ben Colebrook the other day to talk about Percy's Bar running here in the Alcibiades. Let's listen in.
Ben Colebrook will settle Percy's Bar in the Darley Alcibiades. Is the 2 turns something that would give you confidence in turning the tables on Tommy Joe?
I don't know if anything's going to give you confidence on turning the tables on her, but I do think it's a little bit of a, maybe something that's a little different, new thing for both fillies. I think our filly will like it. I think the main thing is that we're going to have a little bit of a home track advantage since we've been here. And Todd's been up at Saratoga, so we went away game last time, home game this time. So, we've got a lot of work to do, but hopefully there's a few little things that we can maybe make up the difference. But, I mean, she's obviously very nice filly.
When she won here first time out in the spring, horses, 2-year-olds don't normally win the way that she did, coming along the inside, rallying. Did you expect she had that kind of ability to show?
Yeah, I mean, we knew she was. I thought a lot of her. Now obviously when the first part of the race went as it did, you're like, oh man, you're kind of thinking it's over, and then right as you think that, she kind of made that huge middle move to get back involved, and then then she just spurted home when the rail opened up. So yeah, it was a very professional performance for a first time starter, because she got bothered as well coming across the chute. So it was a very tough trip to win, and like you said, 4.5 is usually too short to really overcome a troubled trip, because it's almost the race is done before it's begun.
How has she grown, evolved from there?
She's done really well since Saratoga. She's put on weight. She's she's always been a long backed filly. She started to fill out behind the saddle, which is nice. She had a really good work here. Her last work before the race, I worked her in company, and she's just been doing really well. And mentally, she's the very straightforward, so that's a good thing with a big crowd. She's been through all that. We don't really have to worry about all that with her.
What did she show you that?
So that is Percy's Bar. Choice in there for some of our handicappers. Tom's got that one on top. Percy's Bar, my third choice in here. Picked second by Kim. Tommy Joe, top choice for myself, Scott, and Kim Nelson in the Alcibiades Stakes. That was trainer Ben Colebrook. Thanks to him for joining Tom Leach on that one. And we're going to go right back to Ben Colebrook, not the video, but to his horse as one of our long shot plays on the card in race number 10 as we wrap things up. I'm on the 11 in here, Island Girl, second-time starter, who ran better than it looks in the career debut at Churchill Downs. It was a race with absolutely no pace to it whatsoever. And when you get no pace in the front, the horses coming from behind really don't have much of a chance to make up ground. But in that debut race, Island Girl back on September 20th at Churchill got a 92 brisk late pace figure, which means this horse was moving really well for a first-time starting 2-year-old. She's by not this time. She's got a good pedigree to improve. Second career start for trainer Ben Colebrook, a strong positive ROI, about a 20% profit if you look according to the DRF stats. So Island Girl, second time off a troubled debut and a much better close than it looks on paper. The front runners didn't come back because they just walked in that race at Churchill. 6 furlongs at 1:15. You're just not going to make up ground in that kind of situation. But she ran faster than it looks, getting that 92 brisk late pace figure. Luan Machado rides. He could time a good close. Give me the 11, Island Girl, in the finale. This is a maiden special weight 2-year-old race. And as we mentioned earlier in race number 3, these are the long shot races, right? This is that split division we told you about, where the average winner is about $22 on the mutual. Don't be afraid of a price. We're 20 to 1 in the morning line. Ben Colebrook might have a big late daily double in this particular spot. He's got a good shot with Percy's Bar in the Alcibiades. And then in this race, he's got one of my long shot plays of the day. Again, as we go back to the snapshot on the card, I'm finishing up with a key play here. Keeneland Turf Pick 3 wraps up in here. The Toyota Super High 5 is this race, and I'm in on the 11 Island Girl. I'm going to use the 10 in here, Market Chill, a logical for Chad Brown as well. The 4 Beach Ballads run pretty well for Mike Maker, is 7-2 in the morning line. So the top 2 morning line choices are ones I'm going to use in the underneath spots. The 6 Cove Spring is the other long shot I think that you want to keep an eye on in this particular race. Let's see what the other handicappers have across the way. Miss Watermelon, first-time starter, is the pick in here for Scott Hazelton's got Miss Watermelon on top. Beach Ballad, top choice in here. We mentioned that one. Mike Maker's horse for Tom Leach. And then Cove Spring, the other price horse that I mentioned, is the top pick in here for Kim. Again, if we're looking for prices, Cove Spring comes out of race at Kentucky Downs, was well back early, finished up, though, with good intentions. Second-time starter for Kelsey Danner. This is the horse who can move forward. She's also profitable, about a 20% profit on second-time starters for Kelsey Danner. You get Julian Leperoux for all the patience that we've seen Leperoux show over the years coming from behind on the turf course at Keeneland. He doesn't win like he once did, but you only need him once, as Toby Keith used to sing. So Cove Spring, one to keep an eye on there. Julian Leperoux trying to bring that one from off the pace. I think the 6 and 11 are very interesting long shot plays there, potentially in the finale. Once again, we thank you for tuning into the podcast tonight. I will be back on race day each day after scratches and changes come out and before the first race with an update with any final thoughts. You can follow those on social media on X. Those updates will come on X through the @Keeneland Racing and the @HorsePlayer Now X feed. So be sure to check those out. Usually in the 11 to noon hour in that area before the first race, but after we get the scratches and changes and get a sense. There won't be a lot of changes probably on the opening card, but say we have some scratches of some key players and how we might want to adapt. You've watched this entire podcast, you put the time and effort in, and then something happens with the scratches and I want to make an adjustment. I want to give you a chance to get updated on that. Also, a place to stay updated with my information on race day is the Substack. And I want to ask you if you'd like to subscribe to the Substack. It is free. Substack is a free online publishing program in which you are sent emails from me directly. All you have to do is sign up for free. There is a donation button. If you'd like to donate, you can. I'm not asking you to do that. This is a free service. You'll never be required to pay anything for it if you don't want to. But I give updated handicapping information that after my picks or scratches are come in, I'll adjust the top 3 in each race, put it in the Substack. I'll give you any adjusted wagering strategies and things like that might come up. Plus, you get information from my Substack on other handicapping around the country, not just Keeneland, but Breeders' Cup time, weekend stakes races from around the country, some spot plays. So a good free service. Again, you do not have to pay to subscribe. There's a free subscription service in which you get all the information. Sign up, jeremyplonk.substack.com. And usually I send that Substack out right about the same time I do the video. So in that 11 to 12 o'clock hour, usually you'll get the updated Substack. If you're not able to catch the video, that's a good way to keep up with it. And again, sent right to your email inbox each day. Look forward to communicating with you that way. That wraps up the inaugural podcast for the fall meet here. We'll do it 16 more times. Next up tomorrow night on the Friday night program, 8:30 Eastern. Be sure to join me when we handicap the Saturday Fall Stars card that includes 5 stakes races, the $1.25 million Coolmore Turf Mile, the Grade 1 Breeders' Futurity. A lot of great races on the card, 5 stakes races in all. We'll handicap that card for you in full detail on Friday night. And we'll also get a chance to recap what we saw during the day on Friday. Anything we can glean, how the track might be playing, any angles and things like that we were able to derive from opening day. We'll be sure to share them with you tomorrow night. Thanks so much for joining with me. And if some of you stayed through 2 takes on the first one when the mic wasn't working properly, sorry about the little glitch. We'll get it right after 35 meets, right? We'll see you tomorrow night, everybody. Take care.